Welcome to The Explainer. So today we are unpacking a massive, hidden in plain sight health mystery that affects literally millions of people every single day. Have you ever looked in the mirror and wondered why your hair seems a bit thinner, maybe your nails keep peeling, or you just feel utterly, completely exhausted no matter how much sleep you get? Well, we are going to unpack exactly why that might be happening. And honestly, the answer is probably not what you think.
Let's just jump right in. Why are you always tired and hungry? Seriously, think about it. Do you find yourself blaming your exhaustion, your constant cravings, or those frustrating physical changes on, just getting older? Or maybe you think, I just have zero willpower. We all do it. But what if the problem isn't your stress levels, your age, or a lack of motivation at all?
Look at this list for a second. Unexplained fatigue, constantly feeling starved, thinning hair, stubborn weight gain, or maybe you're the person who catches literally every single bug that goes around the office. Now, these might seem like a bunch of totally unrelated random annoyances, but they are actually crucial clues in a sort of medical detective story. Your body has been sending you warning signals for months, maybe even years. And no, it's not just because you missed your morning coffee. So what's the actual truth behind all those clues? The hidden culprit is protein deficiency. Now, I know you're probably thinking, wait, I eat 3 regular meals a day, this definitely isn't about me. Because most of us think protein deficiency only happens in extreme, famine-like circumstances. But the reality? Millions of people across the US, Canada, the UK, people eating completely normal, regular meals are actually starving their bodies of vital building blocks right in plain sight. To really understand why we miss this, we have to completely dismantle this massive gym culture myth. You know the one. The idea that protein is just for giant bodybuilders chugging those massive shaker bottles? In biological reality, protein is your body's fundamental construction material. It creates your hormones, your enzymes, your antibodies, your skin, your hair. It repairs your organs. Every single second of every day, your body is breaking down old proteins and building new ones just for everyday survival.
Okay, so what actually happens when your body runs short on this construction material? Well, your body performs a biological triage behind the scenes. It's kind of terrifying, actually. Scratch that. It's terrifying but completely logical. First, it cuts back on non-essential functions, things like your hair and your nails. Second, it starts borrowing from its internal reserves. And third, those reserves happen to be your own muscle tissue. It literally sacrifices the less critical parts of you just to keep your vital organs functioning.
Let's take your hair, for example. It is primarily made of a protein called keratin. When protein is scarce in your diet, your body basically says, nope, we need to shift our resources to keep the heart and the brain working. Hair growth? That drops to the absolute bottom of the priority list. As a result, you start noticing increased shedding or peeling nails. And the fascinating takeaway here is that your expensive, high-end beauty routine is never going to solve a problem that's actually starting in your kitchen.
And guys, this is where the scale is completely lying to you. Medical experts call this normal weight obesity. If you have a prolonged deficiency, your body is forced to break down your muscle tissue to get the amino acids it desperately needs for those essential functions we just talked about. And because muscle burns calories at rest, losing it actually slows down your metabolism, which means you could be quietly losing essential muscle and gaining fat, all while the number on the scale stays exactly the same. Crazy, right?
It gets even wilder when we look at your blood work. Severe deficiency can lead to a drop in a specific protein called albumin. Now, albumin's job is to act like a sponge, keeping fluids safely inside your blood vessels. When those levels drop too low, fluid can literally leak out into your surrounding tissues. This causes unexplained swelling in your feet, your ankles, maybe your hands. If you are seeing this, it is a major, blinking red signal that you absolutely shouldn't ignore.
But what about your day-to-day energy and immunity? Well, without enough amino acids, you get delayed tissue repair, meaning you do a simple workout and you stay sore for days. Plus, your antibodies are literally made of proteins, so a lack of them means you're going to catch every single office cold. Even more fascinating, neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin completely rely on amino acids. So that severe brain fog, that low motivation, or feeling super irritable, you might think you're just mad at your boss, but your brain is actually missing its raw biological materials.
Which brings us to a huge light bulb moment about those constant cravings. Your endless snacking, it is not a failure of willpower. Your body uses protein to regulate appetite hormones and send the signal that you're actually full. If your meals are low in protein, you are going to be chasing snacks and craving sweets all day long, simply because your brain is desperately trying to find the missing nutrients it needs to survive.
So, what's the magic number? How much do we actually need? The standard recommendation usually sits around 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight.
But experts argue that's just the bare minimum needed to prevent a deficiency and stay alive. For optimal health, especially if you're active, getting older, or actively trying to lose weight, the goalpost moves way higher. We're talking more like 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram.
Let's just do the math to make this super concrete and actionable for you. For someone weighing 150 pounds, that optimal range translates to roughly 82 to 109 grams of protein every single day. That is your target. And honestly, this is exactly where so many of us fall totally flat. Not because we're trying to, but because we just completely underestimate what we're actually eating.
And it is shockingly easy to fall short, thanks to the traps of modern eating. Think about it, 2 slices of toast with jam in the morning, that barely even registers on the protein scale. And that massive, quote-unquote, healthy salad you had for lunch, if it doesn't have a solid protein source in it, you are going to be staring sadly at the office vending machine an hour later. Relying on the front labels of processed foods or just skipping meals entirely leaves us unknowingly deficient day after day. You'd be surprised who's actually most at risk here. It is definitely not just people eating junk food. Highly health-conscious individuals, like unplanned plant-based eaters, are incredibly susceptible. Also, as we age, our protein requirements naturally increase, yet older adults often have a reduced appetite, so they're eating less overall. Add in busy professionals who skip meals, and you can see how the most well-intentioned people can easily fall short of these vital building blocks.
Timing is basically everything here. Just think about how you start your day. A typical breakfast of sugary cereal or a pastry completely sets you up for a massive crash. But if you swap that for a smart start, like some eggs and Greek yogurt, the stark difference in how you feel just a few hours later is dramatic. A protein-rich breakfast reduces those cravings, it completely supports your energy levels, and changes your satiety for the entire rest of the day.
The good news? Fixing this whole shebang is actually incredibly straightforward. First, simply include a quality source of protein with every single meal. Eggs, chicken, tofu, lentils, whatever fits your vibe. Second, spread your intake evenly. Don't just hoard it all for a massive steak at dinner. Third, look past those shiny front label marketing claims and check the actual grams per serving on the back. And finally, choose smart snacks. Grab some cottage cheese or a handful of edamame instead of potato chips. The solution isn't eating more food, it's just eating smarter.
And the really incredible news is how fast your body bounces back when you finally give it the nutrients it needs. Improving your intake doesn't just stop a deficiency. Within just weeks of making these simple, smart adjustments, you can dramatically improve your energy, your mood, your hair health, your workouts, and literally eliminate those frustrating cravings. Small, consistent changes create absolutely amazing results.
There is a quote I absolutely love that gives such a great perspective on this. Better health isn't always about cutting something out. Sometimes it's about adding something back in. Doesn't that beautifully reframe how we think about our diet? We spend so much time in this mindset of restriction, cutting calories, cutting carbs, cutting fats, but true wellness is so often about abundance and nourishment. Adding enough protein could be the exact missing piece you need to feel stronger, think clearer, and age successfully. Which leaves us with this final, provocative thought. Is your body actively asking for building blocks right now? Those hidden symptoms you've been brushing off might not be so random after all. Remember, the goal here isn't absolute perfection, it's just awareness. Start paying attention to how much protein you're getting and really listen to the signals your body is sending you. If this explainer helped you recognize some signs you might have been overlooking, please share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Because when you give your body what it actually needs, incredible things can happen. Thanks so much for learning with me today, and I'll catch you in the next one.